We've been listening to you.
Listening to me?
Yeah, we had some musical introductions.
Oh, the videos.
Yeah.
We actually used them last Friday.
Oh yes, I heard. Yeah.
And then
Ready to let people in or not?
to Akeda. Yeah.
I can do it.
Oh, wonderful.
My lady D'Urbanville, why do you sleep so still? I'll wake you tomorrow, and you will be my will.
Shabbat Shalom for this last Shabbat, the very last one of 5781, before we go into the new year. Auspicious Shabbat, not least because it's Maya's Bat Mitzvah, postponed by a year. And who could even imagine we would be sitting here and celebrating with you all as a family? So everyone, I invite you to leave behind whatever this week has held for you, whatever you have been rushing to do, whether it's been a challenging or a good week, and to welcome Shabbat together with Shalom Aleichem on page 76 of our Siddur.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Arbuni l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedkem l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Hamalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom. So we call Shabbat a delight. Sometimes we have to work hard at carving out time and making it feel special, and sometimes it happens very naturally. So tonight I would like to ask the Rosenberg Kester clan, maybe just 4 of you, otherwise it could be an enormous amount of people, to come up and light the candles. The 4 of you to light the candles to usher in the Shabbat for Maya's Bat Mitzvah. We're on page 75. And one of you, do you want to read that after you light the candles? It's just in English. So at home, get ready to light your candles. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. All of you together? Some of you? One of you?
Your glory fills the universe. We are never beyond the touch of your hand. Yet we are grateful for special times and places which help us and company without us to reach out to you. Hear us now. Feel your nearness. Dwell with your name. Hear your voice. Speaking in our hearts. As is the stillness of Sabbath. Peace. Return to you.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much. May this usher in for you a weekend of joy and celebration. Maya, the first Bat Mitzvah, and Shira following along behind. So we go now to Yedid Nefesh, page 78.
Yedid Nefesh of Harachaman, of Harachaman, Meshoch Avdecha, Eretz Onecha, Eretz Onecha. Yedid Nefesh of Harachaman, of Harachaman, Meshoch Avdecha, Eretz Onecha, Eretz Onecha. ושוכבתך ארץ עונך, ארץ עונך.
Let's turn to Lachadodi. Lachadodi on page 91. Page 91. And as we're back in the building, you can do it in your own home as well, but as we're back in the building, let's stand for that last verse as we welcome Shabbat.
Lachadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mekabelat. 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 Shamor v'zachor v'digur echad, ishmiyanu el hadukad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, v'shemo tiferet v'litilah. Lachadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mekabelat. Lachadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mekabelat. Likrat Shabbat lekuvn elchad, v'hir mekol habracha, v'hirosh mikeder nesukad, tokase b'machshava tchila. Lachadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mekabelat. Lachadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mekabelat. Hitoreri, hitoreri, yivaorek umiori, uri, uri, shirdaveri, v'vod Adonai alai yikra. Lachadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mekabelat. Lachadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mekabelat. O'i v'shalom ateret ba'alam, gam b'simcha u'b'tzolah, o'emunei am selular, o'i malad, o'i malad. Lachadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mekabelat. Lachadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat mekabelat.
Let's stay standing as we go straight to the Baruch Hu. We're on page 92.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
So let's sit down. As we go into the blessings before the Shema, the blessings in the evening that calls us to look at the world around us, the changing of seasons as we work to be ready to hear the words of Shema. You form light and create darkness. As time is a tapestry of day and night, our lives are a weaving of light and dark. Like a slow dawn, we discover who we are. Like twilight, we linger in doubt and anxiety. We endure nights of rejection by others and ourselves, and bright days of acceptance and joy in who we are. You make peace and create everything. We look around and see a world of endless change and diversity. As we rejoice in the variety of creation, we come to accept our own uniqueness. As we delight in our own uniqueness, we appreciate all human diversity, and we live at peace with ourselves and with all creation. These are the words of Rabbi Mark Solomon to add some personal meaning to the prayers before the Shema.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו, קומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו, באורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. באהבתך אל תסור, בימינו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Le'olam Va'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
I'm going to read a different reading on truth. So, true and beautiful and good, sound, established and enduring are these words, now and forever. True it is, Eternal One, that you are our sovereign God and Redeemer, as you were the God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. You have redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then, with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you this song.
מי כמוך האלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף לב, נורא תהילות אוסף לב. אדוני אלוהים לעולם ועד, אדוני אלוהים לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael. I'm getting too used to sharing with Maya. We're now on page 96 as we offer the evening prayer for Shalom Bayit, for peace in our home. We ask God for a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace, a protection from illness and distress and famine. But notice how the rabbis, when they wrote this, they didn't ask for a house or a building of peace. They asked for a sukkah, which, as we know, is very fragile and easily broken down. So there was almost an understanding that none of us are completely safe from these trials of life, but we can try to protect ourselves as best we can.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמות ביתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל יושבי תבל.
the congregation will stand.
That means all of us here, and those of you at home can, or you can stay sitting, whatever feels right for you. We're on page 97.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia gitei latecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia gitei latecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zoher Hasdei Avot ve'imaot, u'mevi ge'ula livnei v'neihem, leman shemo be'ahava, Melech Hoseh U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Meitim atah Rav leHoshia, Mashiv Haruach U'Morid Hageshem, Mazriach Hashemesh U'Morid Hatal.
Machalkel chayim b'chesed, Machayei meitim barachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofer cholim, U'matir asurim, U'makayem emunato lishnei afa, Mi chamocha ba'al gvorot, U'mi dome lach, Melech meimit u'machayei u'matzmiach, Yeshua.
Ve'ne'eman atah l'chayot meitim, Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hametim.
Kadosh atah v'nora shemecha, Ve'en lanu Eloah mibaladecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Let's sit down as we mark Shabbat.
Shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat v'dorotam berit olam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz u'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat v'dorotam berit olam berit olam.
Baruch Atah Adonai, Makadesh HaShabbat. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of Shabbat. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. Baruch Atah Adonai, she'otecha levadacha b'yirah na'avod. And as always, every Friday, just before Maya reads for us our paragraph, our blessing of appreciation, Modim Anachnu Lach, let me invite all those at home to share in the chat moments of appreciation and gratitude you have for your life this past week, this past month, or indeed this past year.
Modim anachnu lach, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu leolam va'ed. Tzur hayenu magen yishenu, ata hu ledovado. Nodeh lecha unesaper tehilatecha, al chayenu hamezurim beyadecha, ve'al nishmotenu hapekudot lach, ve'al nisecha shebechol yom imanu, ve'al nifleotecha ve'tovotecha shebechol et, erev vavoker ve'tzohorayim. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael אתה הוא מלך ארון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך ארון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך
For silent prayer, reflection, whatever we need right now, this Shabbat.
Say shalom b'roma, v'yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol bnei Adam. Say shalom b'roma, v'yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
Joyful, joyous. So this week's parasha, I would say, we'll say more about it tomorrow. I couldn't be more delighted and chuffed that Maya got my favourite portion. And this portion, many of the commentators say, really captures what it means to be Jewish. So I am really delighted to ask you, Maya, now. It's so nice for the Friday night congregation to be able to hear Divrei Torah from our very clever young people. So lovely for us, Maya, to hear your Divrei Torah tonight.
Little legs.
Not so little. So I think we're going to use this. Let's just get comfy. Okay. I'm going to move this so it's not in the way. Your mother's even got a piece of advice for you. Right, okay, keep her. You need a clip, don't you?
Yes, I do.
We'll sort you a clip tomorrow.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for coming, those here at FPS and those zooming in. Postponing my bat mitzvah has meant that I can have more of my family and friends around me, although it is sad that not everyone can be here in person. I'm really pleased to be with you all today in my synagogue on the Shabbat before Rosh Hashanah. My portion, Nitzavim, means you are standing here. It comes from the final book of the Torah, Deuteronomy, and has Moses going over what the people have experienced and a resealing of the covenant. Moses lists all the people included in the community and mentions women, children, newcomers, and those who did the manual labor. It's obvious that times have changed since Exodus, when the commandments and covenant were first given at Sinai, because then Moses directed all the instructions only to the men. There is a very shocking verse in Exodus where Moses said to the men, "Do not go near a woman." This proves sexism was alive and real, as he only talked to the male half of the community. It's interesting and confusing to see that after years of being discriminated against by the Egyptians, they still don't treat everyone in their community as equal. But here in Deuteronomy, we can see how times have changed and how they've progressed to include women being named as part of the community. Seeing this change in the way the Torah was written from the first book to the last means a lot to me as a Jew and as a woman. It isn't much, and there is still much more that can be improved, but it's one of the first steps towards equality in the Torah that we can see. Obviously, the patriarchy in Judaism continue to be very common, and it's only in the last few hundred years, when both Reform and Progressive Judaism started to gain popularity, that women have had a bigger part in their communities. At one time, and currently in some synagogues, women sit separately from the men, hidden behind a screen. Today, in this synagogue, we all sit together as equals. Traditionally, men would wear kippah and talit, and women would not. Tomorrow, I am wearing my great-grandfather's talit, which passed down to my parents, who are married beneath it, and now I stand under it to be bat mitzvahed. My family has had a conflicted relationship with Judaism. 2 of my grandparents were hidden children during the Holocaust, and many of my family were murdered in Belgium, France, and Poland. They were subject to the terrible consequences of discrimination. My parents chose Finchley Progressive Synagogue because they felt it fitted well with our family's values and emphasized what they felt was the most valuable part of the Jewish tradition. I think that they wanted to give me and Shira a positive experience of our Jewishness and a sense of community and belonging. Maybe the Jewish experience of persecution has led to there being a strong tradition of fighting for social justice in Jewish communities, as well as the fact that Tikkun Olam, the concept of repairing the world, and tzedakah, the moral obligation to give to charity, are fundamental beliefs in Judaism. My family on both sides have a strong tradition of social action. Both my parents made sure we had a good understanding of world affairs and took us to demonstrations from a young age. I look to my grandparents, who have all been active throughout their lives in trying to change the world and making it more equal and kind. This has been through political activism, charity work, campaigning, or working with people with mental or physical health needs. Before them, great-grandparents who were trade unionists or volunteered with the League of Jewish Women. I take a lot from these examples. FPS feels like a safe and comfortable environment in which to explore my identity. It's a good mix of Jewish religion and Jewish culture. I don't believe in God or that the Torah is completely factual, but I have always felt able to be open about that here and have never felt judged or disapproved of as a result. To me, the Torah makes for an important story, something that ties us all together to guide us. Like an Aesop's fable, we can learn from the stories about how to live, and the centuries that we have been sharing and reading them strengthens our identity. My tzedakah project is for a charity called Play for Progress. They use music, the arts, and creative therapies to support young unaccompanied refugees and asylum seekers. So far, I have raised £450 by doing face painting and festival tattoos at local community events. I chose Play for Progress because the number of innocent people forced from their homes and into danger and uncertainty breaks my heart. There have been over 40 wars or conflicts across the world in 2020 and 2021 alone. I feel angry and disgusted when I watch our current government making it more difficult for those in need to find sanctuary here. However, it's amazing to see how local communities rally round to collect vital resources for newly arrived refugees, especially recently from Afghanistan. Having two grandparents who were forced into hiding at a young age just for existing as Jews, it feels particularly important for me to be able to stand up here, publicly acknowledging my heritage and my Jewishness. I'm still finding out what that means to me, but it includes a sense of social awareness, a set of strong values, and an understanding of the importance of a big, inclusive community. In our community, B'nai Mitzvah read our portions from one of the Czech scrolls. These were rescued from former Czechoslovakia, now Czech Republic, and brought to England by a man who'd purchased them. They were removed from their communities during the Holocaust and stored in a warehouse until the day they were found and brought to London, where a museum was created to store them. Now, many synagogues around Britain have one or two of the scrolls on loan in their communities. FPS is lucky enough to have 3. I'd just like to end by taking a moment to remember my Baba, my grandma, Rachel, who passed away 3 years ago. She was a warm, loving and passionate woman, and she is deeply missed by all of us.
Yasher Koach. Just beautiful, Maya. Thank you. And I know there will be lots of messages in the chat echoing my thoughts. We wish you strength and presence of mind to bring this back to us tomorrow morning. So friends, let's stand for Aleinu. All that Myra said about the lifeblood that Judaism has given her, the reasons why she's continued it, and why she feels it's such a proud legacy. Aleinu invites us to look forward into the future of what the world could be like.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו ליעד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. גור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. הקדוש ברוך שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב ויקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכיננו זו ברוחי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו לילות. אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, הכתוב בתורתו וידעת היום, אשר אותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת.
So Maya reminded us of the people that go before us, that we remember, and particularly when we're here in synagogue. So this Shabbat, we particularly think of the yahrzeits that fall in our community, of Sidney Allen, stepfather of Brenda Ross, of Leon Brady, uncle of Neil Rosenweb, of Margit and Jeffrey Goodman, parents of Karen Goodman, of Rose Goodman, mother of Karen Goodman, grandmother of Samuel and Toby Levy, of Minna Kramer, aunt of Josie Kinchin, of John Lesser, father of Sheila King Lassman, and of Barry Simmons, husband of Rochelle Simmons. Zichronam levracha, may their memories be for a blessing. And may those who recall and remember with love their beloveds and loved ones be comforted in their loss, as we say the words of the Kaddish with them. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shamei rabbah, bi'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'hayachon v'yomechon, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, מגלה וזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עמל מיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ותהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושורתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירם בימה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו amen. Let's sit down. So we always end our Friday night services with Yasimcha Adonai, the blessing, the priestly blessing, but we also know it as the blessing that parents offer their children. And tonight it feels particularly meaningful for us to have a bat mitzvah in the building. So that, in fact, I can't even remember when the last bat mitzvah was. I think we just had a stream of boys. So I'm very delighted to celebrate you, Maya, tonight and to offer that blessing. So everyone, you can find... I'm going to manage it tonight. I am actually going to manage. Page 563 is most of the blessing. And Dean put this blessing to a melody himself for his own son's bar mitzvah. And tonight we think of you, Maya. We think of all the young people of our community.
Elohim, Kesara Rivka Rachel Leah. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Maya. Looking forward to the rest of the weekend. Let us stand together and offer Kiddush, which we can now sing together. So you can find Kiddush now. See, finally, 20 years of being a rabbi, I can find where Kiddush is. Page 564.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon yimchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehillah lemikrae kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'chata, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon yimchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you, Dean. Thank you to David and Paul. Thank you to Josie, and I don't know who was hosting with you tonight, and to our security and Jackie for welcoming and handing out Kiddush. And we are really looking forward to tomorrow. I know that Shira and Maya have been packing Kiddush boxes all week, so we are looking forward to being in the synagogue tomorrow with you and your class, seeing you. The last one of your class, right? Yes. Last October, poor Raphael, he had remember? You had pizza. Yeah, you were here. Yeah. I mean, you were here for what he did in the evening. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone here. Shabbat Shalom to all of you at home. I really wish you a good Shabbat. These are auspicious moments. Noah, I sent a message from you to Dean, saying hi to Dean. Dean, if you could send that message right back to Noah. He's coming over to wave at you.
Noah, can you see him?
Can you see him?
Hi, Noah. Hi, Noah.
Okay,
Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. There he is.